Christian artist. He's a #1 top fundraiser for abortion organizations and pregnancy centers for women. And he's going to be here in North Dakota. But first, he's on our show. Welcome to the show, Mark.
Hey, thanks for having me on, y'all. Glad to be here.
We are honored, and I'm excited that you are coming to North Dakota, and you're coming during the right time of the year, the summer. And my goodness, we've been listening to some of your music, and you are so amazingly talented. And you really, I love that you're pro-life. You were adopted yourself, your wife and you adopted your 2 girls. So we're going to get into that a little bit more. But I want to just let people know what's going on in Minot. It's at the State Fairgrounds. The Dakota Hope Clinic is having their annual fundraiser, and they always bring in somebody amazing. We have a poster. It's September 20th. Everything opens at 5:30. It goes from 5:30 to 8:30. And I've read some of the comments of people that come to these events that Mark Schultz is at. And they're like, wow, he was funny, he was talented, his music is amazing. So it sounds like you cannot go wrong. Plus, it gets better.
It gets better.
Yes, because there is no entrance fee. It's free, but of course, it's a fundraiser, so they would like you to support, and you can't support a better cause than Dakota Hope Clinic. They help women to have their babies. They help both the father, the mother. They help them from the start, when they just are finding out they're pregnant. They help them when the baby's a toddler with education, supplies, you name it. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this. So Mark, we want to talk to you a little bit. Why is this your passion? Why are you doing these kind of events that support pregnancy and adoption?
Well, first of all, let me say I was just in North Dakota this weekend. I was in Jamestown for Thrive Fest, a Christian festival, and I learned that there's 2 seasons in North Dakota, which is winter and road construction. And you're doing road construction right now, and we were able to see some of that. So excited to come back to Minot September 20th. And I think the reason it's a passion for me is because I was adopted, when I was 2 weeks old. And I always tell people it's the hardest 2 weeks of my life with the paperwork and everything. But I got the best parents in the world, and just so grateful that I got an opportunity to have life. And I wake up every morning and I just am filled with joy. And I told my wife today, I said, just the fact that I get to be here and I get to have kids, I get to be married to my best friend, and I can't imagine missing out on this life. And I would have had my birth mom not made had made a different choice. And so I just want to be all about helping women make choices that they're going to feel good about in 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road. And those are life affirming choices. And so it's an honor for me to get to help.
And you getting in the Christian singing, I think about it as, when you're having maybe a tough day and you put that station on to Christian music,
yeah,
it just uplifts you. I mean, the messages are always so profound. I mean, that's part of why you do it, I would feel, is you want to spread that joy, spread God's word, right?
Yeah. So, I was a youth director for about 10 years. I never meant to be a youth director to church, but I went on a ski trip with a bunch of kids and I got duct taped to a bed and in the middle of the ski trip. And I fell in love with those kids. And part of my job, became just to write songs that encourage those kids, write songs that encourage their families. And man, I just loved it because I could put something back into the world that people could say, I love writing story songs. And somebody told me one time, they go, you take life and you create art out of life and you hand it back to people, and people can say, oh, I can see myself in that, but I can also see the role that God plays in my life where maybe I hadn't even expected it. And so to encourage people, get to do something every day when you get out of roll out of bed. I remember one time I was having this struggle because I had a record that was coming out, and I said, God, please make it a hit record. Please let me have number ones on it, and I woke up in the middle of the night and I just felt God saying, hey, I don't care if it's a hit record. I don't care if it has a bunch of number ones on it. Do you love what you do when you get up in the morning to write about me, to write stories and songs about me? And do you love at the end of the day getting to go, that was time well spent, man? I can't wait to wake up in the morning and do that again. That's what I want you to do, you know? And I think when people hear a song like that, that God's behind, you can't help but be uplifted.
You know, just listen to you, obviously what works. You've had 13 number one records. 13! You asked for him and he's like, hey, that's not what the goal is. But yet, when you're serving God, everything we just heard you say is walking closely with the Lord and caring about giving something and bringing him to others. You put those two things together and God fills in the rest. So how does the inspiration come to you? Do you feel like it's something bigger than you that's happening?
Yeah, for sure. I'll give you an example. There was a young guy in our youth group, and he got cancer at 14. And the youth minister I worked with said, "Hey, you should write a song for he and his dad because they're really struggling." And I took several months, and I couldn't write anything. And one night, I was flipping through the channels of TV, and I just stopped, and I went to the chapel where I write all my songs, and I sat down and I played this melody that I'd never played before. And then all of a sudden the words came out. Like I didn't know if I should stop and write the words down or if I should just sing the rest of it and then try to remember what I just said. And so clearly it was that I was not needed in that process. I always tell people, I think God waited until I had nothing left to say. 3 months of trying to write a song, it didn't happen. And then he just dropped it in my lap at the end of that time. And then when we recorded it, I lost my voice. And the producer called and said, no, we've got to record this tonight because we've got to turn this record in. So I went and I said, look, I can't even sing. And he started to play the song, He's My Son. And I heard the music and tears went down my face. And I just sang it one time. It was one take. And I love when I do a concert and people will come up afterwards and say, you don't know me, but you wrote that song for my son. You know, my son's
Oh,
got
wow.
cancer. You don't know me, but that's every word that I wanted to pray. And I think you wrote that song for us. And I said, absolutely, it was written for you, but not because I wrote it. It's because God dropped it in my lap. And not because I sang it, because I had a sore throat and I could barely make it through. God just sang through me. So it's the most beautiful thing to be able to say, God let me be part of the process, but it in was I everything of it. It was just I was just the person he was working through to get that message out.
You know, when I asked you before about singing and being an uplifting, and you had mentioned that you were did youth ministry or camp ministry, and is that an age that you really do want to capture and want to talk about, because that is such a crucial age in a young, as they're moving from adolescence to teenage to adult life? Is that where, I mean, you know that it is such a crucial age, and
Let's talk about that. But we're gonna go to break, and I want to hear a little bit of your singing, and
Yes.
then we'll pick that up, and you can tell us when we come back. Can you sing a little something
All
for
right,
us?
that's it. Good. I am keeper of the heavens, I am bright and morning star. I am breath of all creation, who always was and is to. I am the fountain of living water, the risen Son of Man, the healer of the broken. When you cry, I am the Savior and Redeemer.
We're not some big city operation with a call center that doesn't even know where North Dakota is. We're Beck, built and rooted in rural North Dakota. We're your neighbors, your cooperative, working together for more than 70 years to keep you connected to what matters most in your life. Our Beck Fiber is more than just internet service. It's what you rely on every day. And if you ever have a question, we're just down the road, ready to help. Beck Communications, committed to you because we're local too.
West River Equipment of Mandan is here to help you maintain peak productivity in your operation. As an authorized dealer for many high-quality equipment lines, we have the new and used equipment it takes to make your farming, ranching, or construction operation profitable and efficient. West River Equipment also has the parts on hand and the experienced technicians in our shop to get your equipment back in action fast. Find what you need at West River Equipment on Old Red Trail in Mandan.
Yeah, U.S. Cattlemen is a member organization that each member has a vote in anything we do with policy. We're representing the independent cattleman or the cow-calf guy or an independent feeder or whatever. We like to support the independent producer. Talking about mandatory ID, we're talking about cool, we're talking about all the legislation that's going to be coming down with the new administration. There's going to be lots of moving and shaking, so always check us out at our website, uscattleman.org.
Come on in and experience small town hospitality and the personalized care that makes car buying a pleasure.
We know that every journey starts with the right car. Whether it's school drop-off, weekend road trips, or your daily commute, we have the right vehicle for you and your family.
With trusted brands, affordable prices, and a team that treats you like family, finding your next car has never been so easy.
We pride ourselves on personal attention and quality service. Bassett Motors, where our customers send their friends.
When I first decided to invest in gold, I was a bit nervous and unsure how to start. Luckily, I found Noble Gold Investments. From the very first call, they made investing easy. No pushy sales tactics, no gimmicks, and no confusing free silver offers with hidden fees. Just honest advice tailored to my needs, giving me confidence every step of the way. If you're new to gold investing or want a partner you can trust, visit noblegoldinvestments.com.
Welcome to where classy meets Wild West. Buffalo Gypsy Boutique of Bismarck has clothing, decor, and gifts ranging from sophisticated boho style to fun and flashy. Our exclusive brands such as Scully, Double D Ranch, and Tanner Mark provide standout style for the whole family, right down to the little ones. We always have a great selection of Kimes denim, and we proudly offer American-made jewelry and artwork. Find Buffalo Gypsy classing up North Bismarck just off Highway 83.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View, and I want to welcome back our guest, Mark Schultz, who is an award-winning platinum number one hits 13 different times, 13 number one hits in Christian music. You've been on national TV shows. I'm curious about some of your national TV shows, but we won't go right away because you've been on Extreme Makeover, Home Edition, and CNN, and I'm not quite sure how this is all working out. And we were cutting out a little bit with your music last time, so Mark's going to do a cappella later in the segment. But the reason I have him on is he's going to be appearing September 20th in Minot. Dakota Hope Clinic is doing a fundraiser, and they're calling it the Chosen, an evening with Mark Schultz. And oh my gosh, I read some of the reviews of people that have been to your events. And it sounds like an entertainment evening extraordinaire, humor, music, personality, and an absolutely good cause, because Mark is a number one fundraiser for adoption and pregnancy centers to help women to have their babies, to give them everything they need in all the different areas, even in things they didn't know they needed, because, sometimes you don't know what you don't know, right?
Right.
So before we went to break, Lori asked about your audience with young people and how you appeal to them and why.
Yeah, I was a youth director. It wasn't because I wanted to be. I just went on a ski trip with a youth minister who said, hey, do you like snow skiing? And I said, yeah. And he just didn't tell me I was going to take 15 seventh graders with me in a van to go snow skiing. And when we did, we got to the mountain. It was in Paley Peaks, Indiana, which is not the best skiing in the world, but the kids got out of the minivan or the van that I was driving, all of them, all 14. And they said, hey, it's midnight. Can we drink the Mountain Dew that's in the back of the van? And I was like, of course you can, because I'm an idiot. And they did. And so, for the next 5 hours, they're just running circles around the inside of the cabin.
Oh my gosh.
And I said, hey, we got to go to bed because we got to go to the mountain at 6 o'clock. We only have 1 hour of sleep. And so they all went to sleep. And when I woke up, I couldn't move. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've had a seizure because I'm allergic to kids. And it turns out when they turned to the light, as I was saying earlier, they were laughing. I was the one not laughing. They were laughing because they duct taped me to the bed in the middle of the night while I was sleeping. So I really fell in love with those kids. And I had the opportunity to write songs for them. But what I realized is if you can keep the attention of a seventh grader when you're speaking, when you're playing music, when you're trying to, trying to talk to them and be up in front of them on stage, you can keep anybody's attention. And one of the reasons I love what I do is because I love to, I love even to come and speak like this, to speak and tell my story. I get to be up on stage and again, to entertain, to play music, to tell stories that weave together to the very end, and you're following along. You're like, oh my gosh, this is like watching a movie, and so it's just been good training for me. But one of the things that I love is that when I'm speaking to adults in a room, adults are just kind of like bigger versions of seventh graders. They want to be entertained as well, but they want to be involved in something that's bigger than them. But they want to laugh, they want to cry, they want to have experience. And so I guess all of us are still, kids inside somewhere. And it's just been a real thrill to me to marry what I love to do, perform, and take a message that I believe in and weave those together. And when you do it right, you can make an impact that's bigger than anything you ever imagined.
So you mentioned you were adopted and you've adopted your 2 girls, and you told us during the break there's a surprise ending that you're not going to tell us, because I'm sure a lot of people are going to see this and say, I got to go, because that's how I feel. I'm thinking of rounding up some friends and getting out to Minot. I want to see you. But can you share a little bit about their adoption story?
Sure. First of all, I was adopted. And so my wife, when we got married, she always said, wouldn't it be great to adopt? And so we thought, yeah, it would be great. And I just think about the people in my life. The reason I wanted to adopt, because my mom and dad stepped out of their world and into my world and said, we're in, And my first neighbors in Nashville, Henry and Liz. Liz grew up with Minnie Pearl off of Hee Haw. It's if you ever watched Hee Haw before, she was my first neighbor in Nashville, and fed me every night for 9 months. And I gained 30 pounds because she fed me mostly chicken fried steaks. But they took care of me when I first came to Nashville for 9 months. And I always tell people, if you know my songs, if you've heard my songs on the radio, it's because I wrote them, but also because I lived next door to a Henry and Liz who believed in me more than I believed in myself. And again, they stepped out of their world and into my world. They didn't even know me. I just happened to be their neighbor. And so it was pretty easy for me to step into another life. Like our daughter, Maya May, we adopted from China. And it was really a great experience. Matter of fact, no, this is Ebby Lou. So we adopted Ebby Lou after that. And the secret that I'm going to hold on to, where we adopted Ebby Lou from, I'm not going to say where we adopted her from until that night, but I think people are going to be surprised and film, and it's going to be a pretty cool thing for them to see. So my wife was really, wanted to make it really special for Maya May, who we adopted from China. Her name's Maya May Schultz. My initials are Mark Mitchell Schultz, so we share the same initials. And then with this one right here, we share another bond that's even goes a step past that, which is a tip of the hat to my birth mom for choosing life for me. And so I can't wait to share that story with everybody.
I love that she was coming in and she's kind of like the cliffhanger to the whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, no one can do that but God, right?
Yeah, that you've got a surprise ending.
God's timing in all of this, actually.
Right, yes.
Which is why, you supporting pregnancy centers, and so much of the far left is misrepresenting what they're about and acting like they are harming women, instead of, like, there's nothing more empowering than helping women to have their babies. They already are mothers. And so how can we walk with them, support them? And so do you have a special place in your heart for pregnancy centers?
Yeah, I do. After doing a lot of these, the reason I was just happened to, whenever my girls have a birthday, one of them has a birthday, I'll get on the phone and I'll call a pregnancy center or an adoption agency and thank them for the work they do, because I know we wouldn't have our daughters had it not been for the work that they do. And so I was just talking to one lady from a pregnancy center, and I told her my story. I was adopted, and I said, that we adopted 2 girls, and I told her that story. And she said, oh my gosh, she said, we're having COVID, so we can't have our banquet. I didn't even know what a banquet was. She said, we can't have our fundraiser live because we can't meet, you know? And she said, would you record your story that you just told me and maybe play a song or two in there? And I said, sure. And I said, how much money are you trying to raise? You know, and she said, well, we're trying to raise $300. And I said, well, I don't think you're going to raise $300 off of this story of my song that I'm telling you right now. And so I recorded it. I sent it to her. And then she called me back about 6 weeks later with just tears running down her face. And she said, you know what? We didn't raise $300,000. We raised $350,000.
Wow.
And it was in that moment that I just loved their work. I loved what they did. I loved their hearts. And I thought, you know what? I said, this is something I can really do and make an impact. And that was like 5 years ago. And now we've raised over, I don't know, it's been $8 million or something just by telling the story and doing all that. So my girls, as is common, sometimes on Facebook, I'll do some songs. If I've got a new song to do, I'll be playing it. And my girls somehow end up in my lap during the middle of the song. So
do you ever sing together?
They found their way in your podcast. Oh, sing together?
Do you have a song that you guys can sing together?
Okay, so we'll sing just a little bit of one. So I had written a song for my boys called Before You Call Me Home. And I was with my girls out in the front of our house, and they were swinging on the tree swing. And I started singing, girls on a swing, smiling at me in the front yard. And I said, girls, I think I'm writing you a song right here on the spot. And so I started working on that song, and yeah, so we came up. I wrote a song for my girls called Girls on a Swing. You want to sing a little bit of it?
Okay.
You can? Okay. Are we going to break, or are we just singing it for you?
You know what? So you want to go August 20th, State Fairgrounds, 5:30 to 8:30.
September 20th.
Oh, September. Ooh, September. There you go. Thank you, Lori. That's why I have you here. The annual fundraising, Dakota Hope Clinic, and Mark Schultz, award-winning, amazing guy. You don't want to miss it. So we're gonna go to break with him singing a little something with us, with his daughters.
All right. Are you girls ready? Okay, you ready? We're gonna sing. Okay, here we go. Girls on a swing, smiling at me in the front yard. Wind in your hair, half brave and half scared, oh my heart. All of the magic of your childhood dreams, the strong and the fragile, like butterfly wings as you fly. My girl's on a swing. There you go. Little chorus for you. That's never been done before in our house.
God's timing.
That's only special for your show, I guess.
God's timing. My next guest has the Butterfly Girl podcast. I mean, come on. You can't have a coincidence like this.
Lined up.
All lined up, by God. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Mark. And your girls are beautiful. And I hope to see you in Minot in September 20th.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
You too.
Me and my son were making a switch to natural deodorants, moving away from the aluminum products, the unhealthy ingredients, flip the bottle over, can't pronounce anything on there. And so we started trying different products that were in the marketplace. And each one of them was really disappointing. And so we spent a year with our chemist working on lots of different versions of the formula until we finally perfected it, where, you know, the product lasts the entire day. It smells amazing. And our customers are extremely happy with, you know, the quality, the longevity, and the natural ingredients that we're using. You can go to masculinemanessentials.com, use code LADIES10 for 10% off, and we really appreciate your support.
Stop out to our facility, Highway 22 South. Let us build a truck for you.
When there's a storm on the horizon, you typically don't get a lot of advance notice. So you brace yourself as best you can and rebuild when it's over. Times like these are what insurance is for, the protection of our livelihoods, our families, our homes, and our lives. We support our community coming together in times of need. As an independent insurance agency, we tailor our services to your needs. At Dakota Community Insurance, we can help you weather the storm. Talk to one of our agents today.
We are the St. Mary Sisters. We are building a new facility here in Bismarck, North Dakota, for the sake of training young women to be courageous teachers in this state. The sisters will educate the younger generation to be fully alive through truth and discipline. The sisters' life of devotion and joy will make a positive difference in your community. Check out what we're up to, see what's going on, and join our mission to make a difference in the lives of the children of North Dakota.
Let's be frank, it's a pain to be without your vehicle after an accident. That's why you should take it to Jerome's Collision Center. Our shop is supersized and we have the qualified staff to fill it up and work on your vehicle, step by step, piece by piece, in crazy fast time without sacrificing quality. When you need us, we'll turn your bad experience into a good one. We're Jerome's Collision Center and we're the best at what we do.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View, and as promised, we have the Butterfly Girl, Kimberly Suba, who has a podcast called The Butterfly Girl. She's also an author, and she walks with people and helps with their healing, having been through this herself. People who've experienced abuse.
Yes,
and helping them. And I love that, I mean, you have progressed in your healing, that now you want to help others. And you're not afraid to talk about it, because initially when this happens, isn't there shame and people don't talk about it?
Oh, absolutely. And especially like in my case, I was sexually assaulted and abused for many years while I was a child. And so just having that, you know, you try to bury it, and your brain helps protect you and not really knowing about it. And so it wasn't until I was in my late 20s, early 30s that I started speaking up and finding my voice. And, you know, I had to work through that shame and that guilt, like it's my fault, I did something wrong. And a lot of times it's because the perpetrator has groomed that person to think that. And, you know, our society, you know, also there's a stigma out there, especially if you're a boy who's been assaulted, that they're a boy, they should have handled it differently. So yeah, it takes some inner work, some therapy, some spiritual direction to be able, for me to have been able to overcome that.
I was reading through some of the stuff, and you had said in there that one of your things is you went from a victim to thriving. And I was just, that inspired me so much, because even more now, people are the victims of so many different scenarios, and not something as traumatic as this one, but you took something that's very traumatic and, you know, as you said, from that victim to thriving, and how important it is to get that message across, especially when you do go through something really bad, and now people are taking something really kind of minuscule at times and just playing the victim and working on that. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, trauma can happen in all different ways. It could be the loss of a loved one, it can be the loss of a job, or even a dream that you've had. And it took me many years to get out of that victim mentality. And in fact, it was my friend Dan who we were having a conversation, and he finally just said, when are you going to quit being the victim? Because everything I was doing was because of what I had experienced. And instead of taking that and teaching, you know, myself and others that experience doesn't define you, it doesn't define me. And so really taking that to heart, processing that, I then became, the thriver. And yes, your lives go through ups and downs and stuff, and you might slip backwards into that victim mentality. But if you have that that end goal in mind, like, I don't want this to continue defining me, then the sky's the limit in what you can do. And I think that myself, I was just telling a friend yesterday that kind of like looking on the outside, looking into my life, and how so much has changed in the last 10, 15 years, and even in the last 2 years, of being courageous and being able to share my story. Because if what I went through and how I've come through the healing process and the resilience of that, then if that's helped one person, then my life is complete. And if we're living if we're thriving and living our best lives, only good things can continue to come from that.
So part of thriving is you become an author, and we're going to talk about that in the next segment, because I have some photos of your books, and like you have done amazing things in the books. They all look so beautiful and lovely, lovely titles and covers and in contents. But I'm wondering, since this went on for many years, I'm guessing it was a family member, because how else?
It was actually my mother's live-in boyfriend from the time.
The number one abuser.
Mm-hmm.
Number one abuser. Yep. And did you ever confront him years later?
I didn't, because at the time, like around 9 years old, my brother and sister and I started spending summers at my grandparents' house. And so then by the time I was 10, we actually moved in with my grandparents, who, God bless them, their youngest daughter was graduating high school and going off to college when they took on 3 young children. And, I honestly just thought this was a normal thing, because I was so young. I didn't know anything different until I moved in with my grandparents. And I realized that, wow, my grandpa doesn't do any of this type of stuff,
Wow.
My grandpa shows me love like you're supposed to. My uncles, showed me love and things. And so then I just my mom and him broke up and stuff, and my mom was involved in drugs and alcohol. And so that relationship was pretty strained. And then when I was in high school, we actually moved back in with my mom, and she started dating him again. And then, I still wasn't like 100% sure. Like, I'd had these nightmares and things, which I know now were night terrors. But he would call me like honey and sweetie and things like that, those pet names that he did when I was a kid. And I just remember feeling very uncomfortable, feeling very on edge. And I had talked to a neighbor friend, and she's like, you've got to put a stop to that. You've got to tell him. And so I went to my mom and told her that I didn't like him calling me those names. And she just made excuses. And so, long story short, I then experienced attempting my own life. And then my mom left the family and never came back to take care of us. And so, then he was out of my life. And when I started coming to terms with like, this is what really happened to me, the statute of limitations was already up, and I didn't know where he was. I wasn't able to confront him or do any prosecution or anything.
I mean, the fact that you have statute of limitations on something like this, because
there should be none,
especially
right?
when you're such a young age, and like you said, you kind of you block it out, and until you get into a fully functioning, loving family, you didn't even understand this was wrong. So that,
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, that's very
I thought there
unfortunate.
wasn't a statute of limitations anymore. on
There
sex
isn't
abuse of
anymore.
children?
By the time I came
Okay.
forward, there still was.
Okay, now did your mother ever find out what was going on?
No, well, I told her on her deathbed, she died 3 years ago from brain cancer. And then I also was able to tell her that I forgave her. And it wasn't because she needed to hear that, but it was because I needed to say it myself. Because I truly had gotten to the point where I had forgiven her, I've forgiven him, all these things. But at the same time, like I think she knew what was going on, but again, she didn't know really how to love me as a daughter. She didn't know how to love my siblings as her children because she was so absorbed in drugs and alcohol herself.
Yeah.
And so, I don't really know if she knew because by the time I was able to confront her, she was, incoherent and things like that.
Well, that's beautiful what you said, because I know somebody else in that situation who said, I realized my mother couldn't be a mother to me, but I could be a daughter. So forgiving, but moving on and
Yep.
recognizing dysfunction. And she was a victim of her own dysfunction, so she really messed up her own life too. So when we come back, we're going to talk about the Kimberly thriving version when we come back.
Thank you.
You know the rule. No phones at the dinner table.
I know, I'm sorry. It's just Noble Gold Investments. I bought some gold for the kids.
Finally.
Well, the gold you bought me gives me so much security in this economic disaster we're having. I want that for them too.
Well, I've been investing with Noble Gold Investments for years, and I'm pretty sure they can wait until after lunch.
Invest in something you can hold. Invest in Noble Gold. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com to learn more.
West River Equipment of Mandan is here to help you maintain peak productivity in your operation. As an authorized dealer for many high-quality equipment lines, we have the new and used equipment it takes to make your farming, ranching, or construction operation profitable and efficient. West River Equipment also has the parts on hand and the experienced technicians in our shop to get your equipment back in action fast. Find what you need at West River Equipment on Old Red Trail in Mandan.
Find relief for what ails you at Steep Me Tea Apothecary. Teas, supplements, tinctures, and more. Formulated to fight whatever has you down. We're Bismarck Mandan's favorite place to find delicious, natural, and easy ways to alleviate symptoms brought on by anything from colds to cancer. Brew a better you at Steep Me Tea Apothecary. Steep Me products may cause side effects, including but not limited to improved mood, deeper sleep, enhanced hydration, renewed sense of smell, increased energy levels, superior balance, boosted immunity, proper digestion, restored sense of calm, and a delightful smelling home.
Welcome to Radiant Retreat Tanning and Spa in Mandan, where a relaxing spa experience meets the latest in healing innovations. Take total control of your massage in our Hydro Massage Bed. Experience whole body healing in our Zero Body Cryo Bed. Let our salt sauna and halo generator restore your respiratory and skin health. And of course, tailored tanning will keep you looking as good as you feel. Discover your best self at Radiant Retreat, 1307 1st Street Northeast, Mandan.
We're from North Dakota, where 12,000 workers bring electricity to 2 million customers and provide over $5 billion in economic activity to the state, while reclaiming 22,000 acres of land. This is coal country.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View, and I want to welcome back our guest, Kimberly Suba, who is she has the Butterfly Girl podcast. She's an author. I really encourage you to go to her website. It's going to pop up at the bottom of the screen, ksuba.com, KSOUBA.com, And you can see a lot of that she's involved with. She was a victim of sexual abuse for many years in her childhood, and she helps others now. And you really need somebody who has processed that and become healthy to understand, having experienced it yourself. But I promise we're going to talk about the thriving Kimberly. That yes, there's woundedness, and you're going to need help to get past it. But there's life on the other side, and you're proof of that. So what are some of the ways that you, once you got past that, where you were able to really blossom and be who you are?
Well, I would like to just make one distinction. Like, somebody never really truly gets past it. It's always a part of their lives, but taking that, whatever it is in your life, and just realizing that you can either dwell on it on the negative aspect or use it for good. And I have made that conscious decision to use it for good. And so part of that thriving is, like you said, having a podcast, The Butterfly Girl, where I talk about transformation, we talk about resilience, we talk about faith and healing. And I, will have guests on there more recently who share different parts of their lives. And it's not necessarily, about abuse or anything. It's just how God has used them in their own transformation to help other people. And then also writing books. My first book is a poetry collection, From Death to New Life, The Transformation of a Soul. And that is a compilation of all the poems and prayers that I have written from the time that I was in high school all the way up until COVID. And they were part of my journals, and I was just going to burn the journals. But my therapist at the time encouraged me to read through them again because she wanted me to see how far I had come. And then those poems I was going to try to give to people as gifts, and it just became a book. And then I was encouraged to sell it and stuff like that. And then my 2 children's books, Caterpillar's Journey and Flight of the Butterfly, came from that because we didn't let my friends' young kids read the poetry book because of some of the mature content in it. And then, life happens. I was teaching, I was working for my parish, and so didn't do any more books until last fall. And it was just the Holy Spirit just prompted me, like, you got to keep sharing and stuff. And this year I have my first novel. I have another children's book, Ellie Finds Her Brave Voice. And that's based off of Aaron's Law that teaches children how to speak up against, and know the difference between safe touch, safe secrets, unsafe secrets. And by doing these books for children, it has really just energized me. People are just like blown away that since last fall, I've had 5 books published. I've been going to school to work on my master's degree in communications. I'm working full time for the North Dakota University Systems Core Technology Services. And so you look at all that on paper and you're like, do you ever sleep? But it just energizes me and helps me on that journey of thriving.
I like the book, Ellie Finds Her Brave Voice. I would think that if you have that in schools, there could be kids that don't know.
Yes.
And it's that they would recognize the truth, that this wasn't okay, right?
Yes. And I'm so thankful that North Dakota has passed Aaron's Law in 2017. So it is mandated to be taught in public schools K through 12 for 1 hour every year, which in my humble opinion is not enough because you teach it in the fall and then they don't get it till the next fall. So what happens in between there, but it's, a lot of people feel like it's sex education. And I want to stress very clearly, it is not sex education. is age appropriate curriculum that is free to all schools by going to Aaron's Law's website, and all they have to do is download it. And it, because every year we teach, intruder drills, we teach fire drills, tornado drills, all of those things, but this is a way more important than that. And it is my hope and my goal to get this book into every school, every classroom. But it's also for parents, it's also for educators, because there's tips in there to read the story, which is also based on Aaron's Law. There's no explicit, like, this child is abused. It just, she has an unsafe secret, finds her voice, but it helps. There's discussion questions for parents to talk with their child about, for teachers to talk with their class about. There's also tips on, what to say to a child when they do disclose that they have been hurt or abused, because the worst thing you can do is lie to that child. If you're a mandated reporter, which all educators are, you have to tell that child, I believe you. I understand that this happened, but this is above me. We need to report this. We need to get you the help you can get. Because if you tell them that you're going to keep their secret, then you're breaking the law, and there's consequences to that. But then you go and tell somebody, you've broken their trust already again, and their trust has already been broken. So they're going to literally grow up to trust nobody. So you have to be honest with them.
I mean, it's kind of sad that it's only brought in 1 hour every fall. And as we know, like, repetition is the one way to get things, that it stays in our brains, right? Yes. So, I mean, why couldn't you do one of these books for sure once a quarter?
Right.
At least you would do it.
I would think once a quarter, because they're home sick that day.
And you could just have each teacher in each classroom read a book like this and have a little simple Q&A that's appropriate for those children. And that would become, I feel like that would be helpful to stick in those brains and be able to understand it more as you continue to do it. But once an hour it's pretty pathetic when you think about it.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing is that I want to make sure people know is I am not receiving anything from writing these books. I donate 100% of the proceeds from the sales of every book to organizations that help children who've been abused or experience any kind of trauma, whether that's, neglect or, anything, bullying, because these organizations don't get a lot of funding other than private donations. And so I want to give back to them. And if I can help a child in a school, but then also help these organizations, that's what I'm meant and called to do.
I want to see these kind of books in schools, and I know yours isn't the only one, but I know that you're a beautiful writer, very talented, and giving from your heart in union with God and wanting to truly help people, not just to stop bad things from happening, but then help them with healing when they do suffer any kind of abuse. I don't know if the legislature can kind of increase what's required in the schools, or if there can be donors. It's like, I'm going to buy these books and I'm going to put them in the libraries. I'm going to make them available to the schools.
That would be amazing on all fronts.
Well, a good start is go to your website, ksouba.com, KSOUBA.com, at the bottom of the screen. Thank you, Kimberly, for joining us today. And hopefully we'll be in touch. I was on your podcast, so so we will stay in touch one way or the other.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. God bless you. And when we come back, we talked about the faith element. For the lighter side, there's actual empirical evidence that your brain changes and is stronger when you have a spiritual life. When we come back.
There's never been a better time to rediscover the style, reliability, and all-season, all-terrain fun of the all-new Nissan lineup at the new and improved Ryan Nissan. Whether it's the sleek and stylish Murano, the adventure-ready Pathfinder, or the reimagined, ready-for-anything 2026 Rogue, the all-new Ryan Nissan has the vehicle of your dreams at a price perfect for any budget. It's time to rediscover your passion for the road. It's time to rediscover the all-new Ryan Nissan, engineered to endure.
Are you dealing with arthritis, nerve and back pain, dry skin, or superficial wounds, but found no relief? Give Stewart's Natural Health a try. For over 4 decades, Stewart's Natural Health has been helping people and animals with herbal and natural oil lotions, ointments, and creams with a mission to help you relieve pain and feel your best using the power of nature. Discover the safe, drug-free solution to your pain, guaranteed or your money back. Visit stewartsnatural.health today.
Welcome to Where Classy Meets Wild West. Buffalo Gypsy Boutique of Bismarck has clothing, decor, and gifts ranging from sophisticated boho style to fun and flashy. Our exclusive brands such as Scully, Double D Ranch, and Tanner Mark provide standout style for the whole family, right down to the little ones. We always have a great selection of Kimes denim, and we proudly offer American-made jewelry and artwork. Find Buffalo Gypsy classing up North Bismarck just off Highway 83.
West River Equipment of Mandan is here to help you maintain peak productivity in your operation. As an authorized dealer for many high-quality equipment lines, we have the new and used equipment it takes to make your farming, ranching, or construction operation profitable and efficient. West River Equipment also has the parts on hand and the experienced technicians in our shop to get your equipment back in action fast. Find what you need at West River Equipment on Old Red Trail in Mandan.
Welcome to Arrowhead Cleaners. Newly renovated, modernized, and ready to make your cleaning needs hassle-free. From commercial and residential wash and fold laundry services to the latest in professional dry cleaning techniques, we are dedicated to your unique needs, offering alterations, fabrications, and even custom hat making. So whether you're a busy professional, a family on the go, or even a rodeo champion, Arrowhead Cleaners is here to take your things from messed up to dressed up. Now celebrating our 64th year in Arrowhead Plaza.
Ashley, North Dakota is where life moves a little slower, but never gets dull. From hunting, camping, and fishing to safe streets where kids can be kids, this is the best of small town living. And Ashley offers everything you need, from healthcare to hardware to countless ways to stay active. Here, we've invested in our future with major upgrades to roads, parks, and education. Whether you're here for the day or here for life, you'll find Ashley's where you ought to be.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View. And lately I've been sharing a lot from Neil K. Shaw. He is a researcher and he works with the elderly, making their lives better. And he comes up with so many amazing pieces of research and studies that make people's lives better. And he looked at people who are spiritual and how their brains are actually different from people that are not. So let's watch this.
If you're caring for someone with dementia or a serious illness, and you've held on to faith, prayer, or a sense of spiritual connection through it, the science just gave you a reason to hold on even tighter. Columbia University researchers used brain imaging to study people who identified as spiritual or religious. What they found wasn't abstract, but really structural in the brain. Follow me before I tell you exactly what they saw, because this will reframe everything about how spirituality protects mental health. The brains of spiritual people showed measurably greater cortical thickness in the parietal and frontal lobes, the exact regions that thin out in people with depression and anxiety. The protection wasn't random at all. It was concentrated precisely where depression does its most destructive work. Dr. Lisa Miller, who led this research, described it as a biological buffer against depression. Not a coping mechanism, but a physical and structural difference that you can see on a scan. And it wasn't tied to any specific religion or doctrine. It was just tied to the practice itself, the turning inward, the sense of being part of something larger than yourself, the meaning that spirituality gives to suffering. I think caregivers out there face some of the highest rates of depression of any group in society. The weight is real, the isolation is real, the grief is real. But if you have a spiritual life, however private, however quiet, the research says it is actively rebuilding the regions of your brain that this season of life is trying to tear down. That really matters. You matter. Share this with a caregiver out there who needs to hear it, and follow along for more.
I had never heard that before, and I thought, oh my gosh, right where you would be depressed. Now I find, I'm a very upbeat, happy person. By the way, I said I was on Kimberly's podcast. I have not been abused, but I was. I wrote a book on Servant of God, Michelle DuPong, and she wanted me to talk about the lives of the saints and how uplifting that is. So I didn't want to make people think I was revealing anything, because I wasn't. But isn't that amazing that parts of your brain become stronger and that can show up in MRIs because you have a spiritual life?
Well, think of it this way. When you have a faith in God and you give, as they always say, let go and let God, right? We're not supposed to sit there and worry and strife about stuff. We're supposed to give those to Him, right? So if we don't sit there and worry, be depressed, have anxiety, you're not letting that brain go there, right. And you're thinking good thoughts and you're praying and learning more scriptures and things like that, so your brain is building up instead. That's why I always say when people live with this depression, anxiety, worry, it's like the more you worry, where does it get you? It gets you nowhere. But if you give it to God and give Him the worry, and you let it go, and you just have to let it go and believe that He will help you. And yes, that, anybody you know that suffers with anxiety, depression, worries is,
Yeah, just to turn it over, one of my favorite prayers is a surrender prayer. Jesus, I put all my trust in you, take care of everything. And you feel like, take care of everything. And there's a saying too, at night when you're going to bed and you have all these worries, give your worries to God, because He's going to be up all night anyway. Yeah. And so
I love that.
But I think because you're able to let go, because it's like, I can't do anything about this. So here, Lord, I'm giving it to you. Right. And then you release yourself from all that stress and worry, because you recognize your helplessness. Now, obviously, if there's something you can do, then you will do it, or you'll try to do it. But we can't control everything, and including all the stress. I just find it fascinating, though, that you can actually look at people's brain and see that part of their brain where if it's not strong, it's where depression hits. Wow. It's the control center of that. So anyways, thank you for joining us today. We hope we didn't make you depressed. We hope we brought you up today. We'll be back next time with Ladies of Another View on Beck.
Ashley, North Dakota is where life moves a little slower, but never gets dull. From hunting, camping, and fishing to safe streets where kids can be kids, this is the best of small town living. And Ashley offers everything you need, from healthcare to hardware to countless ways to stay active. Here, we've invested in our future with major upgrades to roads, parks, and education. Whether you're here for the day or here for life, you'll find Ashley's where you ought to be.
We are the St. Mary Sisters. We are building a new facility here in Bismarck, North Dakota, for the sake of training young women to be courageous teachers in this state. The Sisters will educate the younger generation to be fully alive through truth and discipline. The Sisters' life of devotion and joy will make a positive difference in your community. Check out what we're up to, see what's going on, and join our mission to make a difference in the lives of the children of North Dakota.
I'm Gary Emmett, host of Open Range. We've been at this for the past couple years. Representative Matt Heilman of Bismarck and former legislator Brandon Pritchard are going to do some regular segments on Open Range. While we cover a lot of politics, we're still going to be continued doing mostly all things North Dakota. One exception, Friday evening, I'll be doing a new show on Open Range called On the Horn. This show will be long interviews of 3 to 5 hours with the people I'm interviewing. They'll be airing week after week on that Friday evening. So thank you for being a part of the Beck TV and Open Range family.
Come on in and experience small town hospitality and the personalized care that makes car buying a pleasure.
We know that every journey starts with the right car. Whether it's school drop-off, weekend road trips, or your daily commute, we have the right vehicle for you and your family.
With trusted brands, affordable prices, and a team that treats you like family, finding your next car has never been so easy.
We pride ourselves on personal attention and quality service. Bassett Motors, where our customers send their friends.
$27,000 in credit card debt.
Okay. You have to radically do something different, because if you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting.